Hi there, it's Jen from modernmedicinelady.com and the Empathic Woman System, and the word of the day is overcommitted. Now, when I was younger, I would often get myself overcommitted. I would often find myself with way too many balls up in the air and way too much stuff on my plate. And then I would find myself in the situation where I was having to figure out what I could cut away, which of course brought up all kinds of feelings of fear of disappointing people, the part of me that wanted to people please and help absolutely everybody, and worrying about, oh my goodness, I've already committed to this and this person has this need and I don't know if I can really meet it. So it became kind of a vicious cycle for me for a number of years where I would be moving along at a perfectly good pace and then somebody would come along and ask for some additional help and I'd say, sure. Because also in the Myers-Briggs, I'm a J, which means that I'm very inclined to make quick decisions, which works really well for me in a lot of areas. But when it comes to committing to things, sometimes it means that I'm going to bite something off before I realize if I can actually chew it. So over time, what I would do was that I would get myself into these cycles of overcommitting, having way too much on my plate, juggling way too many balls in the air, and then realizing that basically I was going to crash and burn if I didn't cut back. And then I would have to cut back. I would have to set limits. I would have to look at my boundaries and decide what I could actually eliminate in my life. So I would do that. And I would coast along for a while and move at a fairly good pace. And then, because I was still growing, I was still learning, and to be completely honest, there was a part of me that really did not know how to sit with stillness yet and found loneliness and solitude really hard. I would basically find myself in a situation where I had gotten back into that cycle again and I was again overcommitted. And this was a cycle that I got in, and it lasted for a few years where I would go through way too busy, cut back, stillness, add more stuff to my plate, way too busy, cut back, stillness, add more to my plate, etc., etc., etc. Now, fortunately, as time went on and I started learning how to be comfortable sitting with stillness and also started learning the necessity for boundaries, as well as the fact that I am much more effective choosing where I put my energy as opposed to trying to be everything for everybody all the time, this became less of a challenge. But what I noticed and have noticed for myself is that the time when I am the most vulnerable to overcommitting at this point in my life is when I am already dealing with a little bit of extra stuff. It's almost like as I start getting busier and busier, I don't necessarily recognize that I don't have more bandwidth. It's almost like my bandwidth that gives me the ability to see if I've got the space to add something kind of gets used up. And so then I'm much more likely to be like, sure, no problem. I can totally do this. And then, of course, there's a point where I go, oh, I can't totally do this. Now, the challenge with the I can't totally do this is that once I've already said yes, there's a part of me that's really invested in being of support. There's a part of me that wants to feel needed and wants to feel necessary and wants to be able to make a difference and help somebody, as well as a part of me that is really concerned about disappointing somebody or backing down, particularly when somebody has a need. And so I have to face all of that stuff when I recognize that I've overcommitted. Now, over the years, what I have actually discovered is that more often than not, the story I'm telling myself in my head about how disappointed somebody's going to be, how inconvenient it's going to be, all of these things, generally, I've managed to make it a much bigger deal than it is in reality when I say, you know what, I realized after the fact that I really don't have the space, the time, the bandwidth to do this right now. I wish I could. I would love to support you, and I just can't. And usually people are like, oh, okay, no problem. And they go on and they find the support that they need from another source. Now, I'm not talking about like leaving somebody in the lurch at the last minute. I'm talking about recognizing something, giving somebody ample time, and making that decision, in an appropriate and mature way, not just sort of backing out or disappearing or just like, no showing on somebody. I'm talking about doing it in a responsible and respectful way, but doing it in a way that says, you know what, I'm so sorry I agreed to do this. I was hasty in my decision, and I realize I can't do this right now. And one of the things I will also say that I have found over the years can be very helpful is, instead of just saying yes immediately when somebody asks about anything, is to say, I'd love to get back to you about this. It sounds like an awesome opportunity, and I need to check my calendar. I need to check and see what else I've got on my plate and see if this is an option for me right now. Thank you so much for thinking of me, and I will get back to you soon. So I have found that to be really helpful because it can keep me from getting myself overcommitted. But like I said, every so often I'll come up against being overcommitted again and realize that I need to do a little bit of that backpedaling and pulling out of the process. So my question to you right now is, do you notice yourself getting overcommitted? When do you get yourself overcommitted? And what are the things that are most challenging for you when it comes to basically backpedaling or getting out of a commitment that you just don't have the bandwidth for? And what is the most effective and gracious way that you have found to basically set a boundary, set a limit, or step back when you said yes to something that you know you're really not in a position to do? So I would love to hear what you have to say about all of this. Please leave a comment below. And until next word of the day, I am wishing you peace, I am wishing you ease, and I am wishing you the capacity to recognize when are you hitting that point where you're about to get overcommitted. So in the meantime, please like my Facebook page, Modern Medicine Lady, and also I will be eternally grateful for your help to get this video out into the world. Please like it, please share it, and please pass it along to other people who would find it useful. Thank you so much, and until tomorrow, peace.